Waiting for more updates on Mamta Kafle's case, let's talk a little bit about. This is something that's come up a lot, and I just use this comment as an example because a lot of people have been asking about their financial situation. And motives for murder typically boil down to love, lust, and money. So, could that have been a factor here? We know that Naresh Bhatt worked in the U.S. Army Reserves for about 6 or 7 years. While I don't know how much he made there, the average salary is about $40,000 a year. But he also worked jobs in addition to this. And he worked in government contracting jobs in IT. So you can see he worked from June 2022 to October 2023 at Leidos as an IT specialist. And this was a time period in which he bought the house and that blue Tesla. He then worked briefly here at Lintech Global, and then looks like he got this job at GDIT. Now, I don't know how much he made there, but I was looking at some of the jobs they currently have posted, and honestly, for our area, the Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, the salaries here are lower than what I would have expected. Mamta also, as we know, worked a couple days a week. And so she had some money coming in as well. Plus, they had been renting the basement of the apartment. So for a time, they had a good amount of money coming in. I would peg it probably household income close to $150,000 a year, between 125 to 150 as a rough estimate. But I've also heard that they sent money back to their family in Nepal. Plus, we learned in court that their mortgage was $6,000 and the Tesla payment was $1,200 plus car insurance. So they had a lot of money going out as well. We also know that Naresh was appointed an attorney by the court. So he's being represented by a public defender, not a lawyer that he is paying for with his own money. So I wanted to see what the parameters are in order to get a public defender, because when we were in court for the last hearing, there were some arraignments that were happening prior to Naresh's case getting called. And in one, there is a woman who says that she made about $1,000 a month, and she was not eligible for a public defender. And that kind of surprised me because I thought that that would be around the income requirement that it would take. So I went ahead and looked up the parameters. For a family of 3, you need to make less than $32,275 annually in order to be eligible for court-appointed counsel. They also look into your debts, and I think that might be key here, because even if they're not counting his regular salary since he had just lost his job, he would still be receiving those VA benefits, and he was still receiving rent from his tenants. But if he still qualified for a public defender, then that could mean that his debts were high enough that they didn't believe that he could pay for his own attorney. You know that police have gone over bank records and have been digging into their financials, and I'm wondering if that is going to play into a motive at all. If there were financial pressures that partially led to Naresh doing what he did. If maybe he was trying to avoid the idea of going through a divorce and having to pay child support and potentially alimony to Mamta. Now, I'm not saying that this was a money crime at all, but I do think that getting a fuller picture of their financial situation is probably going to be one of the things that comes up and may indeed turn out to be a factor in this. What do you think?